Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2, with the greatest player of all time in the red, the finisher. It's Serral. But until recently, his greatest competition for that title. In the blue, it's the man, the myth, the Maru. And this is the grand finals of the World Team League, Summer 2024. Team Basilisk versus Team Vitality, battling to be first to get 7 points and take home the championship. And before we get started, I must ask for just 1 point from you. And that's one more like, and maybe even one more subscribe. And Jimmy, what are we at? What? 1,407 likes on this video, on this cast. And I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways. I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. Reaper comes in. Drones on the run. Zerglings will offer themselves up as tribute. And Serral, of course, going for the hatch first, sitting back. And the Queen will soon pop out and announce that playtime is over for the Reaper. But after a side of murder. A single Zergling dies. Reaper pushed away. SCV blocking the third. Maru has had a tough go of it against Serral lately. But maybe this will be the time he can finally turn it around for his team. And the format is an all-kill format, which means out of each of these matches, if one of the players wins, and they're 2 matches back-to-back, then they get to keep going. The other team must field another player. The rosters, Team Basilisk has Serral, Raynor, Trigger, and Showtime. Though he's technically not on Basilisk, he's part of the team for the tournament. Whereas Team Vitality has Maru, Solar, Ryung, and Crank, who's, I think, classified as a coach, technically. But that means they technically could bring him in if they were feeling it. So, either of these players, if they're able to win both their matches, can keep going and potentially just relegate the rest of the team to bench warming and cheering them on. So, we'll have to see. And on some level, I think players obviously want to win and show up for their team, but on another level, it'd be nice to take home the prize without doing anything. So, no matter which one you are, we shall see how far they can get. Alright, Serral 3cc. Nope. Maru 3cc. Serral 3 hatchery. Both players with small admissions that their opponent has units that could damage them, but... Oh, how does he... He always gets a ling in. I don't know how he does it. Wait, did Maru just juke him? He canceled stim, started cloak, after the Zergling came in and scouted the stim. So, Maru trying a very lowbrow mind game, but using the fact that that ling... Now, I don't think I'm going to give him enough... I don't think I'm going to give him so much credit that he let the ling in to see the wrong info, but instead kind of trying to work off the fact it got in at all. And the Viking knocked down one Overlord, will get another that opens up more of an opportunity to get damage done. And Overlord taken down. And you know, that Spore Crawler is an anti-Liberator Spore Crawler. Now, Reaper gets taken out. Oh my, what is that? Was that a Zergling or a Reaper? I don't know. No, it was part of the Reaper, but now it's that Reaper's in several parts. But wow, that was pretty gruesome. Both players really spinning up the macro engine now, though. Double engineering bay for Maru. Already double upgrades on the way for Serral, who looks like he's doing a hive tech rush. Either that, or he was inspired by Raynor's play very recently. In which case, no, but you usually would not go for a double Evo chamber into mutas, because that will delay your mutas so much that by the time they come out, your opponent probably already has Medivacs, Marines, 1-1, Stim combat, all the fixes. So, very unlikely to get damage done. And definitely, that delayed cloak is sometimes better than rushing it out, as clearly Serral caught off guard. 4 drones killed. Not that he doesn't have any to spare, but 4 drones killed and a second Banshee coming in. Serral did not quite have the detection ready to deal with it. And now, Banshee poking in. Looking for the drones so far. Finding a couple more, and that will delay Serral's mining from the 4th base. But wait, there's more. Hold position right on top of those assimilator extractors. And more and more. Brenda, why do they get to fly and we can't anymore? Susan, we talked about this. We don't talk about the war, okay? It's too hurtful. But banshees are hurt. Shh. They'll hear you. Sorry. Hive is on the way. 2-2. For Serral is going to be ahead of Maru. Maru definitely a more defensive Terran. Well known for being kind of a master turtle Terran. In much the same way Clem, not so much. That was a clunky sentence. But Clem, always aggressive on top of it, which is high risk, high reward. Whereas Maru has a tendency to focus more on the turtling up and building the army to just win outright incredibly cost efficiently. He doesn't have a Ghost Academy on the way yet, but he's working on his 4th command center. He's already got the +2, at least attack upgrade. Thing is, Serral's already working towards Hive. He's going to have +2 melee and +2 carapace. And with Hive Tech coming online, by the time Maru moves out, there could be Vipers, there could be adrenal glands. I'm not sure. We've seen the correct method to beat Serral. Thank you, Clem. And right now, well, in the pipe 5x5, right, boys? Oh, wait a second. All right, no, get. Apparently not. But Vipers, 5 Dropper Lords on the way as well. And Maru didn't start +2 armor, which is quite a mistake. There's certainly no reason not to have it. Did he actually queue it up on one of them? No. He just doesn't have +2 armor on the way at all. That is a straight-up mistake out of Maru here. Healing up the medevacs, but the Banshees come back in. The Banshees aren't done yet. Continually dragging Serral back. But Serral has not... Oh my, he's just going to do a massive drop. Looking to crush early on. And Banelings? The siege tank on the high ground. There's a single Widow Mine. Huge hit. Combined with the siege tank getting a lot of the Ling Bane. But Serral has already loaded up into the Overlords. There's no real defense against this. I think maybe a single missile turret, just as well as a sensor tower on the way. But that sensor tower is going to be coming online by the moment the Zerglings are dropping in the base. Adrenal Glands. Look at this timing coming together. Adrenal Glands is finishing in 10 seconds. Burrow in 2. He can burrow the Lings inside the main, even if they come to clean it up. Trying to split off and deal with the Widow Mines. Blinding Cloud wipes out the effectiveness of the tanks on the front line. The Vipers helping to gut the defenses. The main base is overrun. The Natural is gone. The 3rd is being obliterated. The Zerglings are cutting down the SCVs, and Serral just decapitated Maru in game 1. And the Zerglings are just burrowing in every single base. The armory is taken down before Maru even starts +3. The engineering base miraculously are still intact. Serral, 44 SCVs dead. And, oh my, that Widow Mine single-missilely getting enough damage to maybe keep Maru in the game, but 45 SCVs, leaving Maru with almost exactly that number left. Maru will eventually clean up most of this, though. Burrowed Lings all over the place like it's a campaign mission. Comes back in for more, gonna clean up. And the Banelings unburrow and knock out the mules. But wait, there's more. Zergling splits it off. He can kill more, and the damage just keeps adding up. There's no way Maru can clean this up and move out. Usually, the big risk with something like this is if it gets cleaned up, they come across and they have just too big of an army. But Serral sacrificed nothing for this. He can rebuild that same army again with better upgrades against a weaker Maru. It doesn't get any easier here. A scan has to be used. There's only 3 orbitals. He can't just be throwing them out there like it's Costco. I don't... Well, another wave. He targets the Banelings with the Widowmine there. I think that was a manual target. But the Vipers are coming in again. Parasitic Bomb quarantines one medevac, but the other one is targeted as well. The survivors are ripped to pieces. Another drop comes in with the surviving Dropper Lords. Maru is scrambling back, but there's not going to be much to go back to. The minefield splitting off individual Lings. And the main base, there were still Lings burrowed. At this point, Serral's just giving it up to the mines. You gotta be so careful, but he just runs them over. Just like the Marines, just like the Marauders. The Banelings are rolling in. And it looks like Maru will be rolling out of game number 1. Serral with a decisive clobbering to open things up for Team Basilisk. Wow, okay. Looks like Serral picking up where he left off Maru the last time they faced. Well, that was more one-sided than a Mobius strip there. Does not vote. Team Vitality not looking particularly vital at the moment. Serral goes off to a 1-0 lead as we head into Crimson Court. So because... just to note, as we saw in some of the other matches, the map vetoes are done between each match, each 2 players. So we may very well see the same maps again and again. I believe it was Raynor versus Clem where we saw Crimson Court 3 times in a row. I'm not sure. It may very well be loser pick the second match. I'm just going to make up whatever rules sound the most interesting. But remember, it's first to 7. In the points counter. So the reason we don't have best of 13 or whatever up there is it actually only goes up to 9. Fun fact. In fact, Jimmy, can we get even fancier? Because it's technically not really. All right, there we are. First to 7. It's not really a best of because of the format, which is super interesting. I actually think it's the best Team League format, a combination of all kill and having multiple players out there. Because the all kill format has a tendency to the best of 1 all kill format has a tendency to make the team with the better individual player usually the greatest menace. Well, that would usually be Serral in this case, but here he has to win 2 games against pretty much all of the best players on the enemy team in order to keep going. If he drops even a single one, well then they gotta bring out not like the bench is weak. Okay, Raynor and Showtime and Trigger, who's very dangerous in individual matches. Reaper. He's gonna kill a drone, isn't he? No, he missed a shot! Ugh. Well, that is unfortunate. And get off my screen! Brenda. Reaper gets taken down. Had its opportunity. Serral taking down the rocks. This map's such a pain if you're not able to open it up early. The Zergling's gonna take about half an hour to take down those rocks on their own, but when he finally gets there. Okay, not quite that long, but several minutes. The Queens zoning out the Hellions. And a Banshee on the way. Any cloak from Maru? Yes. Investing in it. I think the Banshee's worked out quite well. It's just this sort of passive style against Serral doesn't really work. He's too good at adapting and overcoming. The way Clem was able to beat him is by just overstressing those defenses. Serral's defensive, Serral's kind of sit back and deal with the attacks until you have an overwhelming army. Didn't work out against Clem because there was no dealing with it. Like, for every attack that you put down, 2 more crop up. But Maru does not seem to be embracing that sort of style, but instead sitting back at risk of sounding both condescending, mildly offensive, but also profound. Maru is playing yesterday's Terran. Clem is playing tomorrow's. And Serral is here today. Which is why Raynor matching Clem was such a big deal. They sent Raynor out to face Clem instead of Serral. But because Raynor was able to draw even with him, Clem didn't quite clutch hard enough to carry his team into the finals. And what was the style from Raynor that made such a great impact and was so effective against Terran? A style that we haven't seen in quite a while. But it seems to be picking up popularity again. Of course, it's the Mutas. The Mutalisks. I'm sure Raynor giving Serral some tips. And the Queens with the Overseer almost in range, actually kind of splitting their damage. A bit greedy. Lucille, we focus on the same Banshee. Yeah, but I thought you guys had it. You guys are doing so great. Hellions darting around, looking for an opportunity, but not finding it. Spire about to complete. And Serral will have 8 mutas, maybe 9 banked up. So quite a strong start. Now, when you go mutas, when you go for that Spire, you delay your upgrades. You delay the rest of that composition because you want to get as many mutas out to do critical damage as soon as possible, or at least keep the Terran at bay. And that means Maru will have significantly better upgrades. He's going to have a 1-1 done pretty much by the time Serral starts his. And Terran and Zerg upgrades take exactly the same amount of time to complete. So that's a full upgrade advantage for Maru. But of course, oh, the Spire just got scanned. That's a huge scan for Maru. He sees that the mutas are coming before they get here. Will the mutas be able to swing in and actually take out the missile turret building? No. And Serral's actually a little supply blocked. So that scan at the last moment getting just enough. And giving Maru those few seconds of warning you desperately need against the Mutalisk. Still, the mutas looking for an opportunity. Just gonna delay the 4th base. Gonna slap a little more damage in there. And until combat shield is done, those Marines are definitely vulnerable to being picked off by the Mutalisk. 6 more mutas on the way. Looks like Serral didn't see anything that would give him a reason to slow down. 9 more mutas. Banshee's headed for the main. Knocking out the drones. And the Queen as well. The Muta's coming back to defend. The Banshees are out of energy. This is as much as they're gonna get. A single Muta, which means he's just gonna get a few more kills. Best case scenario. Maru able to stabilize. He's got 2-2 on the way. Is there an infestation pit for Serral? No. The Muta count grows. He's up to 18 and counting. He's gonna have 20-something mutas. Easily enough to one-shot medevacs, possibly one-shot missile turrets. He's right there at that number. I think it's something like 22 mutas with +1 to one-shot a missile turret. I am just making that number up on the spot. All right. Sounds right, though. So many mutas. 22. And a Thor's on the way. Some Widowmons as well. But Serral is just mass muta. It's going to be most of his army supply. He's maxed out now. Is there an infestation pit on the way? No, none at all. So Serral's on that lair tech mutiling Bane. Welcome back. He can take out the missile turrets, knocks them both out, and the engineering bay. Oh no, +2 +2 infantry weapons denied. A huge, ooh, that Widowmine. Get you a bit of revenge damage on the way out, but that is a huge pickup. And Serral will compound it. He's getting his infestation pit now. Oh, the Ling's overrunning the field. There's not that many Banelings at the moment. That will change. Knock it out. Oh my god. 26 Mutalisks. The Thors, or just one Thor, providing a lot of support on the back line. The only advantage here for Maru, well, he's got +2 armor, and this is a lair tech army out of Serral. He can't fight straight up, unless Maru is either out of position, or just at an awkward angle in general. As the army is scrambling back, including the Marauders stimming, that is truly a sign of panic. Missile turrets just being taken out one by one. At this point, the missile turrets are supposed to be a delay. They don't kill the mutas, but they slow them down. But the mutas are just running through them. Or slicing through them. They don't really run at all. They fly like angry rats with wings. Oh my god, +2 infantry weapons goes down again. +3 armor's still on the way, but those weapon upgrades are so important for Terran. And Serral can't know which one he's sniping necessarily, but getting either of them is good, but the weapon upgrade is definitely a huge deal here. Oh no, the missiles! Okay, the 2 Widowmines could have been terrible, terrible damage, but just one is manageable. And Mutos will heal. Takes out a tank. Make that 2. As Maru is still maxed out, but it looks so incredibly impotent, you'd be surprised to find out. Serral just running circles around him. Maru stuck in his base. The Thor is trying to get some damage done. He's gone for the plating upgrades for the mech, but that means the mutas aren't taking enough damage from the Thor to really be intimidated at all. Like, Muta's flapping in. 4th base, or 5th base, I guess, technically. Maru still has a lot of SCVs. Despite how busy Serral has kept him on the map, Maru is still maxed out. He's slowly but surely working up to those upgrades. Is Burrow done? Indeed it is. Will he try the obvious? Well, he burrows under the command center. There's enough bio that zones out the Mutalisks. Changeling up there. Oh my god, that's so many Banelings! Oh, Serral has over 50 Banes! He'll have significantly less as he just casually happens by the base. Serral losing a lot of supply there. Thor! A little late on the pickup. And another Thor goes down. +3 weapons on the way for the Mutas. A very rare sight, but a welcome one, I'm sure, for Zerg fans out there. And Maru just... Ghosts come out, sniping Mutas. Still good against them. The Mutas can close the distance quickly, though, and interrupt the snipes. The auto attack's still pretty good against Mutas, but Ghosts suffer from the same issues as pretty much everything else Maru has, which is an inability to chase down the Mutas. He just flies over, losing 3, 4, 5 of them. God. 8 Mutas dead in the last 90 seconds or so, but Serral swinging in again for another base. Another wave of Banelings comes slamming in. And you know what? Serral a little stingy. He decides not to use the Banelings. Instead, just for the most part, uses Lings. Throws a few Banes, and when he realizes it's not really working out. And Maru is... This feels like bullying a bit. +3 on the way. The Muta's just camping out. So Maru's army is massive. Maru has 147 army supply. He's losing his main base. Serral is going to make, I assume... Oh, he already has 57 Banelings. He's got Ultras on the way. 57 Banelings with +3. He's rolling down the ramp. Maru's kind of clumped up. The Banelings melting through. Some of the Ghosts going down. And Maru down 40 supply with the first wave. Another round of Banelings gonna be loaded up. Oh, it's not getting any easier. Down goes an orbital. The Muta's anchoring so many units back at home. Serral has not really taken a fight with the Mutas at all. He's just forcing Maru back. The medevacs, there's nothing left to heal here. Maru has taken another base. His main still getting hit. The Mutas keep swinging in and out. There's no base here, but there's plenty of SCVs to take out. Serral has over 9,000 minerals. As he's been sitting back, completely untouched. Down goes another base. 25 more Banelings in production. Serral, if he really wants to rub his big claws in Maru's face, he could throw away any wave of these units and build like 10 Ultras. But why risk it with the Ultralisks when the Mutas are doing just fine? The Ghosts come up, they look for the snipes, but the Mutas dive on top of them and eat a few hits, but take out the Ghosts. Another wave. Maru down 100 supply. And Serral, well, that settles that. Serral with a comfortable 2-0. He will continue. And Team Vitality is going to have to send out someone new. It's going to be Ryung. Yes, you might recognize that name. Ryung, still a top-tier Terran in Korea. Formerly, did he win a GSL back in the day? Or at least near the final rounds. But Ryung has a very unique Terran style. Not dissimilar to Maru's. And we start another 2-match set here. If Serral wins both games, he can continue. And then he'll face Solar. We can do a process of elimination. Team Vitality only has 3 players. Whereas if he loses even one game, Team Basilisk will have to send out someone new. Though Serral could be revived for an ace match sort of scenario. What was I saying? But Ryung has this elderly Terran style. And what I mean by that is he's very good at turtling. Maru might be good at turtling, but he still plays a standard Terran. Ryung has, at least from the limited games I've seen, he has dispensed with the idea of even trying to pressure top-tier Zergs and instead outlast them. So, while Serral is the best in the late game, I wouldn't necessarily count Ryung out of taking one of these matches. I think 2-0 is too much to ask, especially considering what we just witnessed. But there's a world I could see one. Especially here on Dynasty. Wow. It must be loser pick, right? Like, because otherwise, why would you ever want to play this map as Zerg? There are so many more neutral maps. But, oh wow, a drone. Oh, okay, almost got 2. This map is just... I mean, the Terrans can get a gold base and defend it with relative ease. Zerg, you see Serral isn't even bothering. So, Ryung gets a drone with the Reaper, and so far gets out. All right. Solid start. That's more than you can ever ask. Wouldn't stop the Terrans from trying. Alright. Speed about to complete. Young might be overstaying his welcome here. He almost certainly is. Are there Hellions? Zergling speed? Ah, he's using Rainer's quick speed. Which, I don't know exactly. I haven't studied the build closely enough, which is a real complicated way of saying, looking at what he does. But Zergling speed is supposed to come out around 335. Alright, that's the timing. But this new sort of timing that Serral and Rainer have been using has speed finishing around 325, which those 10 seconds make the difference because, as you can see, Ryung overstayed his welcome. Terrans are used to that exact timing as when you pull back with the Reaper and join up with the Hellions. But in just getting a few seconds earlier speed, well, that Reaper gets hunted down and killed. And it makes it that much easier to defend the Hellions afterwards, as the Reaper with the grenade to potentially bounce the Queens around and do annoying things like that is certainly a major part of it. Roach Warren on the way. Lair has begun. Overlord actually got taken out by whatever this... Oh, what is going on back there? There's like a crypt. Oh, that's where the Overlords go when they die. That's sad. Queens. Oh, sorry. Queens on the edge of the creep. As they so often are. And now Banshee. Cloak nearly completed. And he's gonna go Mutas again. Or it seems very likely. Wait, I take it back. Jimmy, edit that out. This is a Roach timing. That lair is so quick, and he doesn't have the gases to be going Muta. Could be Nidus, but looking like just straight up Roaches. He's already got the Roach one done. A single Evo chamber. Double Evo now. There's Roach speed. And just try to bully his way into the mid-game. Because expanding past 3 bases should be very difficult against mass Roaches for Ryung. The early mid-game, you got that gold base in a very defensible third. But stick your neck out any further and it is liable to get chopped off. The Queens coming to deal with Cloak Banshees. Yet again. And the Banshees may very well be enough. He's gonna push it away. Takes out a heli and restarts the base. Even before the next volley of fire comes through. Literally. The Marines behind the wall. But that is indeed a wall. SCV testing it. To dramatic effect. Infestation pit. Wow, 630. It's not the quickest hive timing, but it's gonna be damn close. Again, a very quick hive. And remember, the players see the games before, obviously. Then again, I think most players watch Serral games at some point. Even if they don't think they're gonna be playing against them. There's always something to learn. Meanwhile, Ryung, staying with that Hellion Banshee. Serral, with this Roach Ravager composition. Infestation pit on the way. Doesn't have quite enough to start the hive, but he's got 1-1. The Banshees, but the Queens are here. Double drop loaded up. Changeling's heading out. It's going to be a little awkward. Those rocks will not be taken down by the time the medevacs get by. Serral is up 20 supply, which is not really very much in the grand scheme of things, especially considering he has Roach Ravager, which you're very much expected to have higher supply. But the Queens... Oh, Knitting Needles almost kills his own Overseer. Double drop unloaded to the north of the 3rd base. Meanwhile, Hellions darting into the 4th. Banshee will be repaired by the SCVs that are forced out of position by the Roach Ravager. But here come the Marines stimming in. Gonna take out several drones. Working on the hatchery itself. A bold move. I don't think it's gonna work out for him. Ryung, it's not working. He killed the hatch. I'm gonna retire. He just committed. But at what cost? It cost him pretty much every single Marine. He took some damage on the other side. Not microing away the SCVs. And, well, he lost almost 16 Marines. But he did kill Serral's third. So, I guess that's a very Pyrrhic victory. But a victory nonetheless. Because the hatcheries are also production for Zerg. And when you limit production, it makes it easier to win the next battle. Because they might not have enough units to even get through. Meanwhile, we have the standoff here. As 2 Ravagers deny mining at the entire base. Lings and Banes in position to deal with the Marines. And the medevacs to the south. More Zerglings moving into position, but not enough of them. Whoa, barely dodges out of the way, but the Queen's starting to target, working on the Banshee. Not quite enough, but the Marines are already inside the house. Another corrosive bile almost finishes off the medevac. The Queens could turn around and take it out. And speaking of taking it out, another medevac drop, but the Banelings don't connect in time. That medevac, a strong gust of wind would take it out. Four Queens at a time on the way. As Serral fills in his supply, nearly 200. Ryung finishing up 2-2. He's holding his own. And he's got, very importantly, a 4th base up. That 4th base is a huge deal. Targets down the Banelings. Vipers, do they have energy for Parasitic Bomb? 1 or 2 of them do. And working on more. Vikings on the way. I don't know if he spotted this. No Ghost Academy yet. Ravagers just wandering up. Siege tanks are walled off behind. Oh no! One of us. One of... That's definitely walled off. The only gap in the depots is one that I don't think siege tanks can fit through. Meanwhile, Parasitic Bomb, get over here! Get... No, no! Get... Just keeps pulling him back in. Ryung ends up losing a full medevac and has some more brews. Marines boldly going where many Marines have died before. More creep gonna be swept up by another wave of Marines, and without the Banelings. Well, here are the Banelings. Alright, get out of there. They'll expect one of us in the wreckage, brother. But that was like 12 of us. Rounding up. The minerals have been mined through! The SCVs, I think, going to test it. Hold position SCVs to kind of mess with the AI of the Zerglings as they try to get through. If you don't attack move, they'll try to just run past. But if the SCVs are physically blocking, you can kind of manipulate it. Ryung has now not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 siege tanks and arguably more stuck behind this walled off here. Oh no. This might be one of those scenarios where, surprise, I have 8 siege tanks. Not because I was planning for this, but because I just realized a bunch of siege tanks are walled off. 201 over 200 supply for Serral. Breaking the game with a casual, like, hatchery trick. Ryung still has not unlocked his bonus tanks. No! He's trying to... finally! The bonus tanks are on the field, and now Ryung is at full power. He has to defend this northern side, which has gone from being a benefit to a liability. Surprised we didn't see a Parasitic Bomb here, but yanks a tank into the fray, takes out the missile turret, Viper still intact, Banelings trickling through, another wave of Corrosive Bile, Vikings throws out a Parabomb. Going to continue to chase down. There's a lot of bio here, forced to micro all the way back, target fire is good. And Corrosive Biles will zone out the rest. Chitinous plating is on the way. Serral working up towards Ultralisks. He's got Ultra Speed on in production. Spire as well. Greater Spire could be the follow-up. And Ryung has not committed his tanks out on the field at all. And by that I mean they're by his 4. But he hasn't actually drawn them into an attack. It's all been drops and just bio run-bys. And there's a lot of Banelings, but they have to actually filter through the Corrosive Biles. Another counterattack to the south. Ryung, though, still maxed out. He's working on +3 armor. +2 mech weapons is the choice. No mutas here. The Spire is almost certainly going to be made great again by Serral. And Ghosts in production. How many Ghosts already on the field? We got 5 of them. Ghosts, a good counter to gestures wildly at Zerg. Another command center attempted on the far side of the gold, where the rich Vespine geyser is located. Another hatchery happened by, slurps up the Marines, gonna head towards the gold base that Serral has now taken. Some of the Zerglings get in through the open mineral wall. Down goes a medevac yet again. But the other medevac makes it into the main, and the Marines are firing over the top, but the Queens have their knitting needles over the side as well. The Changeling standing by. Serral starting to bank up quite a significant amount, but Ryung still holding his own. And we're starting to run low on untaken bases. 3 more command centers on the way. The Iron Bank of Terran is building up. It's going to be double-digit command centers momentarily. A whole bunch of Marines here, but here come the Banelings. Not sure... oh, EMP, I think, missed the mark. Parasitic Bomb splits off the Banshee. And the Ghost tank a surprising amount of Banelings, 6 to 7, depending exactly on upgrades. The Vipers come in, they got full energy, yank the tanks into the fray, though there's not actually enough units to kill them quickly. Saves another tank, another Parasitic Bomb, finally finishes off the Banshee. The base will be forced to be lifted, as Serral, holding for now. And in come the Banelings, rolling in for more. And snipes, snipes a lot of the roaches. Serral kind of, I assume, bringing up some supply there. He has 3K, 4K in the bank. What's it gonna be? Ultralisks. Wait, did he just kill one of his own Marine? He killed a Changeling, but I think he also moved his own Marine. Just gotta be sure. Could be any of you. Meanwhile, Lings and Banes chasing down. Banelings rolling in. Parasitic Bomb onto the medevacs. We'll quarantine 1. The siege tank's doing terrible, terrible damage. The Ultra's actually maybe a questionable choice here. Though, Serral does have money in the bank. There are plenty of Ghosts on the field. And Ryung already has a very strong army supply. Oh, be careful. I almost threw the Banelings into the rocks. The Ultras chewing through them. God, the tanks. 14 tanks. That's a tough nut to crack. But here we are. But Serral's not allergic. EMPs are good. Parasitic Bomb on some. Lines up the shots. Snipes out the Vipers. Works on the Ultras. And Ryung able to knock the army back for now. Ultras again. That's so many Ghosts. Good luck. He needs those infestors. He has one. Are there any missile turrets? Not nearby. Scans. There should be enough scans for almost constant scans, but that first fungal could be devastating. The Ultras, Lings, and Bane. Serral with money in the bank here. Not so much he can just throw away his army again and again, though. Those Ghosts, before you know it, they start really racking up the efficiency. Serral has lost 3,000 more minerals and only 300 more gas so far, which is quite a miracle. Ryung setting up another wall of command centers. A fusion core is on the way. Almost certainly for advanced ballistics. More factories. How many siege tanks? 18 siege tanks. There's Baneling mines scattered throughout the map. Vipers coming in. Yanks in a few tanks. Blinding Cloud on the back line. Banelings trickling through. Easily dealt with, but that's a lot of Ultras. Ghosts sprint up to line up their shots and will knock out a few more Ultras. Serral trying to knock out some bases. But Ryung doing a good job of keeping him at bay. Still, though, it seems to be trending heavily towards Team Basilisk Serral. He's got Vespine, he's got over 5,000 gas in the bank. 4K minerals. The real key is how efficient he's being with his gas. It's so easy to throw away Ultras and Vipers till the end of time. You just run out. But still, within 1,000 gas lost, despite being the aggressor on almost every attack. More infestors. He's actually got a Hydra Den on the way. He does have a Spire, but he hasn't gone for the Greater Spire. Are we going to see Lurkers at this stage, or just straight up Hydras? Against this many siege tanks? 18 tanks, and he's building 2 more at a time. Blinding Cloud negates some of the tanks, but there's more where that came from. Ryung, ooh, a bit thin on the defenses towards the south side, and the Zerglings will overrun. Phil does have adrenal glands. He does have 3-3 on the ground for everything. 60 more Zerglings. Couple more infestors. 4 siege tanks at a time. Thank you very much, Ryung, for showing the way it's done. Working on the sensor towers. But he has 6 orbital commands. He should have scans. Serral finally making that Spire great again. 5K, 6K in the bank. Another wave. Ryung beating back the Zerg. But, well, Ryung is playing to exhaust Serral. Not necessarily physically, but to run out the map of minerals. And right now, well, the problem is Serral has an entire other base. Ryung can't let Serral mine from one of these corner bases for too long. Because otherwise, Ryung would have to be so obscenely efficient. And he does have a lot of ghosts and tanks. Notably not Liberators, but instead good old-fashioned siege tanks. Ooh, Blinding Cloud opportunity. Hits it on multiple tanks. Baneling's rolling in. Trickling through. Will be taken down by the back line, which is like another dozen tanks. Because of course it is. But Serral continues. He has... What's it going to be? He has 25 supply to work with. 9 Broodlords. That's every Corruptor pretty much he owns. 10 Broodlords. Ryung knocks out a base. The Infestor pops up. And, well, that was not the most dramatic reveal. Maybe kills 1 medevac? Okay, well, yeah. Could have been better. But Ryung, oh my god, he has 22 siege tanks. Which, oh no, the Broodlords are coming. And siege tanks don't care where the enemy is. They will fire upon it. And this is a big reason why Liberators are used instead of siege tanks. Is because the Broodlords will turn the tanks into the greatest enemy of the Terran. The ones that survive, that is. He was waiting until Ryung committed to... like a third of Ryung's entire army is siege tanks. And now it's just a liability. The Fungal Infestor Broodlord. The oldest and most effective Zerg composition. It's been nerfed at least a dozen times in multiple ways since the days of old. Since the days of Ryung being at the very top of GSL. Sorry, Ryung. But it is still the best chance you have to beat this Terran endgame. With the Fungals to interrupt the snipes, the Broodlords to negate the siege tanks and in fact turn them against him. He's zoning with Fungals. Transfuse. Another fight to the south side. Ultras, Lings, and Banes. Quite a brawl. But it feels like Serral has been choking him out for 20 minutes. At no point was Ryung truly the aggressor, but he certainly held the line. But now, that line has been pushed all the way back. Each siege tank will be taken down. The bases will be removed. And Ryung is out of money. And Serral not nearly close to that position. Serral almost has enough to rebuild his entire army again. Ryung doesn't have enough to even max out. Well, Ryung doesn't have enough to get to 140 supply, but that was a very dramatic way of saying he's broke. Sure, the ghosts are cloaked, but that does take energy, and there's effectively no energy for Snipe now. He chases down the siege tanks, the Thors. There's still 99 army supply, but Serral slow and steady. Ryung showing why he's such a thorn, a porcupine of a player. But the tide just took its sweet time coming in. But now Ryung is drowning. He's dead, Jim. Sorry.
He's dead, Jim.
Ryung still has 113 army supply. If Serral hadn't already showed an intense and overwhelming competence at dismantling exactly what Ryung is doing. If Serral kind of pulled one over on him and won a fight or two, and Ryung still had a bunch of ghosts and this kind of deathball army. But he doesn't. Alright. Now, he's fighting for his team. He's gotten the closest to anyone to beating Serral so far. Time for Serral to EMP the ghosts. Serral, do it. The Zerglings are in the main! Oh, he doesn't have enough for a neural on that one. Zergling's working on the wall of barracks. EMP is thrown out, but Zergling's caught. He tries to save them. It's too late. They are coming. The starport burns. Blue flame Hellions. And mules will drop. Ryung has actually managed to go up in supply. The ultras are headed for the main now. Please. Please, Serral, I beg you to EMP the ghosts. I'm begging you. Please. Oh, it just dies to a scan. Now I'm upset. Would you die already, Ryung? Serral, once again. I mean, I think we're reminded of why against everyone but Clem it feels like Serral is smurfing. Ryung has played a great game. He's... he drops... Oh, I love it! That is my favoriteest thing. Oh my god, it worked! Ah, Serral! Serral! Oh my... What? That was my favorite. Okay, no. One more... Let me explain. So, Ryung dropped the mule, which physically blocked the units because the mule is not a threat. So the Ultra is trying to get through to fight the Thor. Like, ah! But the Thor takes, like, only chip damage from the Zerglings. But Serral then burrows the Ultralisk, which forces the Thor to retarget. And then the Zerglings kill the Thor. And then the Ultra pops back up. I mean, none of that matters because Serral has already won the game. But, what a beautiful moment. I love the mule drop, though. To hold the door just a little bit longer. Alright, Ryung. He's still got 122 army supply. That Thor. Don't stub your toe. Yeah. I appreciate your gumption, son, but you're in way over your head. The fungals, the infestors, there's not enough ghosts to matter. Now there's no ghost. Wait, no, there's one. I take it back. And Ryung, well, Broodlords. The Queen. Why do Thors do so much damage? Because the Terrans like to have units that are good, both spellcasters and to A-move, Brenda. Why can't we A move? GG! Serral finally brings it home. Slowly but surely. Works his way through. Wow. Ryung doing his level best at making it as hard. You know, there is something to be said. Now, maybe against some other players. Probably not Serral. But there's something to be said about actually physically tiring him out. Which, you know, doubt. But if he makes the games take 30 minutes, then maybe Serral will lose his mental focus. And, someone else down the line can beat him. Unfortunately, if there's anyone who's unlikely to lose their mental focus, it is Serral. I don't think that's the tactic that Ryung is going for. It's just kind of a result of his playstyle. But here we are. And now, yet again, we're going into Crimson Court. I'm convinced that it's a loser pick. Because if I was a Zerg, and I'm 1/3 Zerg myself, these are the two maps as Zerg I veto. Okay. Dynasty, especially, but also Crimson Court, because it's such a pain to deal with tank pushes, drop shenanigans in general. It's just, it's not a good time. I was coming up, there was a lot of 4-letter words I debated there, but the only 4-letter word is to like. And subs. No. But halfway there. So, unless Serral's a masochist, he's like, this is a map I want in 2 matches. I want to play the 2 worst just to make it fair. He transitioned pretty smoothly from that Roach Ravager. Ryung doing a great job. I can't believe those Marines killed the hatchery. That's still an upsetting moment. Who does that? Who commits like that? We're so used to seeing, like, Clem see a fight that he's not going to win and just slurp up the Marines into the medevacs and continue microing them. Ryung's like, no, I right-click on the hatchery. That's what I do. And then he gets it. I mean, he loses every Marine, but at least he gets it. Otherwise, it'd be very embarrassing. Don't do it! Oh my god! He got it. And he got it. Well, not embarrassing. And he's got a Marine in position to potentially take out the Overlord that's scouting in from the backside. A classic tactic that many Zergs use nowadays. Instead of just sending it straight in, you're just hanging out at the back of the base. A lot of players, even at this level, will not prepare for that Overlord. Ryung, clearly, doing his due diligence. He's ready. He's got a Marine in position. Shut it down. So far, well prepared to deal with what Serral's bringing to the table. But, well, what? Oh, Zerglings have to turn right around. The Hellions come out. The Queens. Ladies, where are we going? I thought you knew where you were. Lucille, who's got the map? It's too small. I can't read it without my glasses. I don't... What do you mean? I don't... Sorry. The Zerglings poking at the Reaper, but so far Ryung on top of it. I will say, I think Ryung is playing a very efficient Terran. And against many players, that Turtley style, many Zerg players, I don't know about Raynor nowadays. Raynor has shown a remarkable progression, both in the sheer amount of APM, like Serral last game was averaging around 500 APM by the end, give or take. Raynor against Clem, 700 to 800. And yes, some of it might be spam, but a lot of it isn't. It's madness to me that there is a player playing legitimately over 10 actions a second and getting higher. Once again, yes, many of those are just repeating. Then again, microing Mutus. I do appreciate, I want to go back to that Raynor versus Clem series. The games where Raynor went mutas, he was pushing 800 APM. The games where he didn't go mutas, it was like 650 to 700. So somehow, he managed to add another 100-something APM just into Muta Micro on top of everything else. That madness. He better have insurance on those wrists. Okay. Ugh. He's probably going to need it at some point. Serral, I can't believe we're talking about, if you said in Wings of Liberty, 500 APM. Like, and in Wings of Liberty, we were in StarCraft time, which was technically, everyone had lower APM because a minute was not a minute. I'm not going to get into it. But the top players, the Marus of the time, if you would, which was Maru, like 300, maybe 4. Like, that was an insane number. 400, insane number. And now, kids these days. Like and subscribe if you don't understand the youths, but you can still respect them. Speaking of, why do we always take the path as the crow flies? We can't fly. We have to walk around. Why does the pathfinding work like that? Why does it just figure out what the fastest path is instead of the shortest distance just directly? Why? Shut up, Brenda. You just keep going on about random stuff, and at some point it's too played out. It's super cringe, as the kids say. So. Roach is getting gunned down again, Ryung, finding a pretty sharp timing. And the queen's getting chased down, caught on the wrong side of the base, but able to make it back. A hive is already halfway done for Serral. Wow. A redonkulously fast hive. And the Zerglings in the third base. Ooh, will be split off. The Hellions, though, on a move command, getting caught out. Some of the Zerglings taken down, but the Marines... Rion slurps him up into the main, dodges back, the double back, pump fakes the metapacks. And in the main base, there's no anti-air built in here. The Queens damaging the metavacs. Corrosive Biles come out, has to dodge his own Biles, but eventually will be pushed away, at least into the trees for now. Ravagers hunted. No main speed. Wow, Serral has taken so long to work into his Ling Bane composition. He's got adrenal glands and Bane speed and Vipers at the same time. Well, clearly shifting. The Roach Ravagers is the meat shield that keeps you protected for long enough to bring out the sword that is your Lings, your Banes, your Vipers. That's the real damage that cuts through. The Roaches and Ravagers are just kind of there to get in the way. That's the style that we've worked out over time. Without the Roach Ravager early, you don't have any real way to pressure medevacs at all, even with Corrosive Bile. You have no way to take out siege tanks reliably, as getting Zerglings close enough is optimistic and bet Ryung. That's not the right spot. Close enough. Wait, am I dumb? Close enough. All right. No, that's definitely off. I'm like 80% sure. Either way, it's close enough to the gas, and that's what matters. And you know what? It might not matter at the end of the day, as here comes the Blinding Cloud. And rolling through. Beautiful Blinding Clouds. Gonna take out yet another set of tanks. The command center itself, the SCVs are repairing it. Another wave of Zerglings underneath. And the medevacs are coming back. Load up another... Repair that medevac right now. Don't. Why are you like this? Oh, no. That medevac, somehow... It's going out again. And it was just 2 days from retirement. Mining through the mineral wall, but it's a bit of a liability at the moment. Wave of creep. No vision here, though. The map is dark and full of Terrans. Ryung knocks out a hatchery. Clears up some creep. Serral lines up for another go. Pretty sure that's the right spot for now for Ryung, but there is no right spot with this many banelings. Another wave of corrosive bile takes out multiple tanks, backs off again, just knocking out the 4th base over and over and over again. 58 more Zerglings in production. The Vikings knocking down the Overseers. He just scatters. Whoa. The Queens will have to deal with it, as obviously corrosive bile is not the most reliable anti-air option. Another double drop. And Zerglings aren't going to be enough, but yet again, how many times do I have to teach you this lesson, old man? Swings in again and pushes back the command center yet again. For like the 4th time, Serral comes in. And down goes the command center. But a hatchery taken out by the double drop to the north. Serral knocked back down to 5 bases. So I guess that's something. Ryung trying to keep the pressure on while defending back at home, but he's just now starting the Ghost Academy. It seems a bit on the late side of things. He hasn't been able to hold on to that 4th base throughout all this. Muscular augments, and now 5 Overlords loaded up. Dropper Lords from Serral. As he's working on 3-3, a whole bunch more Banelings. And these Dropper Lords are him angling for a killing blow. I want to see him throw the corrosive biles and then yank the tank into the biles. Alright, let's see it, Serral. That's a lot of Marines. 3-3, not done. Neither side. Honestly, quite delayed on the upgrades. Really focused on the action back and forth. But the Marines... Ooh. The target fire is okay. Barely trying to thin out the Banelings, but... Oh. Sacrifices must be made. Parasitic bomb. No, no, get away from me! I don't... Picks up some more of the Marines. Keeping the pressure on, but a massive drop is loaded up. Operation Overlord has begun. Oh no. Oof. That's gonna be a weapons grade oof. There it goes. As 5 Overlords are loaded up with Lings and Banes. Wait, do they have any Banes in there? No, just Lings. Banes take 2 slots. Just as 3-3 is finishing, the Ghosts are coming. Serral! Awkward. Anyways, the Lings are unloaded. He actually just goes back out into the corner. But this drags a lot of Ryung supply back to the main base. Oh my god, there are so many tanks. He loves his siege tanks, and I love him for it. But they're quite a liability in this exact scenario. Oh, well, that was an optimistic drop. Loading up multiple turrets. 4th base is finally established, but corrosive bile from the low ground almost takes out the sensor tower. Might be able to snipe out. Ugh, more SCVs dead, 9 of them. Serral just keeps chipping away. And the rich Vespine refinery. Oh. Burrow's not done. Maybe a Baneling mine opportunity there otherwise. Good target fire from Ryung, but then his Marines get kind of spread out. Surrounded and slaughtered. The rocks are opened up. Great blinding cloud. EMP though. After the parasitic bomb. Gotta get out of that medevac. Oh no, full medevac is gonna go down with all hands. Whips out some corrosive bile. The command center is burning. A series of incredibly unfortunate events. And Serral is ready to drop into the 3rd. There's no units anywhere nearby. Just a single tank outside. Ryung has 15 siege tanks, which is a gratuitous amount of siege tanks. And somehow yet, not enough. The Spire is on the way again. And that's not for Mutas. Zerglings in the main. Ryung again refuses to die. But any semblance of aggression has fallen by the wayside. as he desperately tries to defend the multi-pronged attacks of Serral, who's coming in to get EMP, Blinding Cloud onto the planetary fortress. The tank line goes deep, but the Banelings will try to get deeper. Falls back, the Banelings rolling away, the siege tanks cannibalizing one another with that splash damage. Another wave comes through, another set, down goes a medevac. I think a ghost was in there. The income advantage. We see a couple mule mountains balancing things out as Ryung managed to take the income lead. Several extra minerals, but overall, wait, well, like 10 mules just dropped, so that will bring the stimulus package for Ryung. Brings him nearly even in terms of mineral income, but Serral's at 92 drones, and now he's just going through the motions. Greater Spire on the way. 5 Hydras. Does he have a lurker den? No, just Hydras. Ryung. His greatest strength right now is being not dead. Which, it's not good. At this stage of the game, I mean, StarCraft 2 is a very intense game. Serral could probably go to the fridge, get a nice cold glass of why do I want to say milk? All right, is that weird? I made it weird. He's clearly not lactose intolerant with how many cheeses he shuts down, so. And the point is, he could go get that glass of milk and then come back. And even if Ryung had pushed out at that moment, it's unlikely he would have made enough progress to bring him back into this game. But here we go, yanks in another tank. Serral taking his time with it, and by that I mean constantly smashing any of the outlying bits of Ryung's base and being as efficient as possible. And in fact, Serral has lost less gas than a turtle Terran, which does not compute. All right? You're supposed to lose at least a little more. But the fact that Serral has somehow managed to limit his losses to like roaches and zerglings for the most part. 96 banelings make up the vast majority of the gas lost. Three more factories on the way. Ryung is again angling towards that late game McDonald's sort of style. Whereas Serral is, once we see the Corruptors, you know he wants to kill the tanks. We don't see the Corruptors yet. He's at 11,000 minerals, 4,500. He's got enough to pay for the next game too. Ryung trying to clear out the creep, but Serral taking offense to that. Isaac got a track in building armor. Blue Flame, Hellions. And more siege tanks on the way. Already flyer attacks in production for Serral, who's at 13,000 minerals. Another round, heads for the center. Ghosts line up their shots, knock out a bunch of Ravagers. The Ghost count, he's sniping Banelings as well. That actually was a costly one for Serral. Am I lying? Would I lie to you? Not knowingly. That certainly doesn't rule it out, though. Like and subscribe for premium truthiness. Here come the Hydras, sliding, slithering. My favorite StarCraft 2 trope, or StarCraft trope in general, is how almost every cinematic has a Hydra just popping out of nowhere like a jump scare. Like a 12-foot high lizard bug coming out of nowhere. Surprise! Hydras! And here they are. Zerglings overrunning, but the ghosts line up their shots and knock out a bunch of the Hydras. Unfortunately, they don't run out of ammo, which makes that one cinematic with Kerrigan getting sudden but inevitably betrayed inaccurate, I might add. 100 Zerglings were just in production for Serral. Does he have an Ultralisk Cavern? He's not bothering with them this time. Here we go with another round. How has Ryung not mined out this gas geyser yet? There's still 200 left. The Rich Vespine Geyser mines out in like 5 minutes of mining. Maybe less than that. Total mining with 3 in gas, but despite having this base for like 15 minutes, he hasn't managed to hold on to that gas geyser for even like a third of that. He's almost there now. Serral with 13,000 minerals. Right now, the mineral bank looking like their prize money disparity. Well, Serral probably needs a bit more there, but... Is it time for the Brood Lords? A Liberator taken out. 9 more Hydras. Infestor really tucked in there on the ramp. Wow. Huh. Neural Parasite on the way. Actually, a bit of an oversight for Serral, who can afford every single upgrade in the game and then some, not to have that, but coming in again. +1 Flyer Carapace on the way. The mech upgrade's quite lacking. Oh, I take it back. No, he's +3 mech. Never mind. Mech plating level 2 and ship weapons level 1 on the way for Ryung, who is still playing to win. And, or at the very least, to make sure his team... Oh my. Doesn't quite see that Infestor. Yanks in 2 Liberators. Blinding Cloud on the tanks. Fungal! The Infestor! He's so good with those. The Serral Fester comes in. And Serral, he's chopping off his fingers one at a time. And he's starting on the toes. Hashtag Drumley fans. It feels like he's just hacking away at what Ryung has left. And none of these are game-winning attacks, but any 10 of them are. As Serral he's now 2,000 gas, 2,400 gas, more efficient than a Terran with ghosts. He's thrown away a lot of extra minerals, but I think he's okay with that. Here come the Blinding Clouds again. He has the Broodlord switch loaded up, but does he even need it? And throws out a fungal. EMP way late on the draw. Mainlings rolling by. Takes out another wave. Hydra's clearing up the turrets. And it's a 100 supply gap. It's not getting any smaller. The Infestor lived! 120 Zerglings in production as Serral. Wow. Serral, unfortunately, we didn't get to see like the 150 Zergling army. But after 900 Zerglings, despite such dramatic losses, felt like Serral was in the driver's seat for pretty much that entire game, which means we already know what's coming up next. If you were paying attention. There's only one more player on Team Vitality who has a chance to force someone who isn't Serral to play in this series. And it's Solar. Yes, Solar, one of the best Zerg players in Korea. So you might be like, what about, where's Dark? Dark is on his own team, Team Talent. I don't know if we explained this earlier. This series has already been quite a bit. And you do need more than one player on your team, though Dark is rated as the #1 player on his team. At least for SC2, so. And guess what? Oh my. I can't believe it. Here we are again. Crimson Court. Very popular lately. As Serral continues. Because in this all-kill format, his dominance allows him to continue. Okay, Okay, we need to reset that. I butchered that one almost as hard as Serral butchered Rion. Like and subscribe if you enjoy. If you made it to this point, you're an hour and what, 20 minutes in. Okay. And believe it or not, when you talk for an hour and 20 minutes straight, sometimes the words get away from you. All right? Sometimes you're able to rein them back in, but sometimes you just got to let them go. And if at the end of the day, people are motivated to like and subscribe, that's really what matters, right? Okay, that's what I tell myself before thinking dramatically about all those sentences that got away from me and cringing both internally and externally. So, Zerg versus Zerg, everyone's favorite mirror matchup that involves Zergs. Serral has dominated this matchup ever since he lost to Solar. Yes, this Solar. Last year's Gamers 8 Championship, which was the precursor to the Esports World Cup sort of thing. That's what knocked Serral out of the biggest tournament, barring this last World Cup. Was Solar. I believe it was 3-0 as well. Ever since then, it feels like Serral has ratcheted up his Zerg versus Zerg, which was by far his weak point. And, well, dominated Dark, Raynor, it's no longer his weak point. His weak point, if he has one, is named Clem. Both players taking a third base. So Zerg versus Zerg is a knife fight in a phone booth. Thing is, both players can see almost everything that's happening. The queens can come out and push away overlords. Maybe they can deny some scouting. But the question isn't if, but when that knife comes out and starts stabbing. As Zerg units are just too fast and too furious and too effective early on. There is no real viable way to sit back in your base and allow them to take map control that allows you to get ahead. Unless they make a big mistake, simply having Zerglings and Banelings early is not something you can really skip. So here, both players going for Ling Bane already with a Roach Warren on the way. But will they, won't they? How many Lings, how many Banes? When do you start drones behind? They both have to take educated guesses as to when that's going to happen. So, very important for Solar. He gets a Zergling in the main, sees no lair. He sees the gas count, aka there's only one. Meanwhile, Serral going to do the same. Like I said, there's almost perfect information, but the units move so fast you don't have time to react. So you have to be reacting to what's going to happen, not what is happening. And right now, Solar losing several of his drones at the front as he was chasing down the Zergling in the main. Down 3 drones to start. Both of them have the rich Vespine Geyser at the third base. Though Serral's the only one mining from it for the moment. Several Banelings scatter throughout. Roaches on the way. Cool. The Ling Bane dance back and forth. Banelings, shark it in. Somewhat amusingly, it takes 2 Banelings to kill 1 Baneling. Which creates one of the weirdest dynamics in the game. But also allows you to play somewhat defensive with even a single Bane. Now, from the low ground, Solar working with those Ravagers. The exchanges continue. As right now, there's going to be more corrosive bile being flung about sloppily. More sloppy than a particularly unruly frat party right now. And Roach Ravager, but Zerglings from the back. Banelings trickling through. Serral, well, no decisive victor in this first engagement. There's no other tech here. Serral's Extractor is almost dead on the high ground. Another Ravager sniped off as a cocoon. He's going to actually take out the Extractor, which hamstrings Serral's gas income pretty significantly. They both have 37 drones. Big Zergling counter. Serral moves in to intercept. Corrosive Bile. 92 to 92 supply. Serral. Well, here's the Roach Ravager working on the Overlords. Serral with a few supply. Corrosive Bile dodges away. Corrosive Bile is less for actually killing units and more for forcing them to micro out of position and get that little bit of extra DPS. Misses the mark. Now firing at the slowest moving units of the game. And still somehow missing. As both of them clearly much more intent on fighting the actual army, but just throwing it out at the Overlords. Here comes some Zerglings. Catches a couple of the Ravagers out. Gets a good pick off to start. The Corrosive Biles barely dodge away in time. Another wave of Banelings. The Zerglings kind of far out of position. Solar going around, but that means no Zerglings in front of his Ravagers. Corrosive Biles land, but Serral smells blood in the non-existent water, and he chases down. Banelings crashing in. They deal with a counterattack. Serral winning the Roach Ravager war, and those few Banelings he left at home to defend. And now Solar. GG. That's it. That's all it takes. The Zerglings overrun, so we're going to have to go back to the spawning pool with that one. And it turns on quite a dime there. But indeed it turns. And that means, I can't believe we keep playing these maps. Dynasty will be the next game. And, well, that's 5 for Serral. If Serral wins just one more, we're going to the final match, where Team Vitality can revive any of their players. And they have to win. Well, whoever they revive then has to win against the entirety of Team Basilisk in order to take the match. So, wait, no, 5. No. Jimmy! So, in the not unlikely chance Serral takes it here, that means either Solar again, or Ryung or Maru will come out, and it's up to them. And they will be forced to win every single game. Serral has put him in a very rough position. Even if he loses here, they still have the ability to bring Serral back out one more time. Which is quite a fearsome proposition. Serral taking the gold base on the inside, which is something you can do, but only in this matchup. Is this a 3-hatch before? Wow. 3-hatch before gas. This is so greedy, but maybe the only map you can get away with it in ZVZ. I think Serral, not liking how he was outshone by Raynor. That's not fair to Serral, who's a surprisingly modest player, though obviously with a competitive edge. But with Raynor being put out to compete with Clem, and Serral being relegated to cleaning up the rest, clearly Serral has something to prove, as everyone in their YouTube commenting mother will be like, well, is Serral washed up because he lost to literally the best Terran in the history of the game? I think Clem has just figured it out. And Serral, will we see him get to a level to compete with present-day Clem? It's possible. But I think we've almost... It's going to sound kind of bad. But we've almost transcended the strategy part of the game. At least in Clem's sense. Where, if you're not at a certain speed, you simply cannot keep up. There is no amount of strategy or build order or anything that will solve that problem. He's simply too fast. But, speaking of fast, Zerglings with speed, but the Queens! Brenda! Hold the line! I'm holding, Susan. I've been holding this whole time, just like GameStop. I told you to shut the fuck up about GameStop, Susan! 4 Queens on the ramp. And so far, well, with a bunch of roaches on the way, there's some decent surface areas. You're going to use Banes against Queens. One Queen goes down, but this is not working. Like, Solar committed everything to this. And Serral clearly prepared exactly for it. He has exactly the timing with the roaches. The Ling Bane is desperate. There's a single ram. All he has to do is hold that ram. And right now, it's well held. It's not gonna work. The Ling Bane isn't gonna work. He's got a roach horn on the way, but Serral already has 15 roaches out, which is more than enough to deal with this. That gold base, the springboard for this economy, bootstrapping such a huge amount of roaches out onto the field. Gonna get a few Ravagers. No, Overlord, consolation prize, I guess. The Roach Ravager on its way across, and the Ravagers can deny the mining at the gold base. Just a single Ravager is all it takes. And while they're scampering across, this is not an even money game like the last one. Serral still has more economy behind. He's had 3 bases for longer. He's at a much higher level of production. And now he can poke and potentially just outright kill drones. He's trying to bait in. I'm sure Solar's aware of this, but can he stop it? The Ravager almost dies outright to Corrosive Bile. Lings and Banes from Serral. Another wave. It ain't gonna be it. More Banelings coming in. Good Corrosive Bile from Solar. Serral just casually sidesteps. No, 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 that's it. The whole team's down. 6-0 for Serral. And now, there can only be one more. The next player sent out for Team Vitality must win 7 games in a row. Starting with Serral. And in the ace match. And potentially match point for the entirety of the World Team League Summer 2024. Shout out to World Team League, by the way. This is probably my favorite kind of... You get to see matchups that you won't see in any other tournament because of the format. And anything that encourages any sort of team play instead of just individual play. I kind of wish there were actual team games, but they're just not balanced. Like, anyways, your champion. Welcome back to the man, the myth, the Maru. Another try. The last life before his vitality runs out. Serral on the cusp of proving he is still a force to be reckoned with in StarCraft 2. That even though the occasional Frenchman or the rare Italian might give him a run for his very, very large amount of prize money, that he still has the number of what was once considered the strongest region in all of StarCraft 2. So much so that even to this day, as a red-blooded American, I still think of Americans as foreigners. Okay? Europeans as foreigners. Because you know what a foreigner is? It's a non-Korean here in StarCraft. I don't think that terminology is really accurate anymore, with tournaments rarely being region-locked and how things are set up. But it's so ingrained in StarCraft, that kind of terminology and that feeling. But times are changing. Now, times could certainly change right back if Maru pulls off the biggest upset possibly in the history of the game. Maybe even more than Oliveira beating Maru for that world championship a year and a half ago. But 3cc. And we're on Site Delta. I'm surprised it's not Crimson Court again. But here we are. The Queen pushing away. Been an exhausting series, and this is so far the minimum amount of games we could possibly have. But they haven't been short ones. Ryung certainly put the time in here, and maybe Maru. I don't know what the takeaway is from that. That Serral's very good in the late game. I think Maru could have told you that. I really think something like an 8 racks timing. This is how Oliveira and Clem have managed to take down Serral somewhat recently, is with that constant aggression, that constant pressure. You need to keep him busy. You need to keep him from taking his side of the map and just throwing a decisive amount of units at you. Just enough to kill your bases without committing a huge amount of resources. Maru has to be the aggressor. I don't think he can sit back and defend. It will not work. Serral will clean sweep an entire Team League Finals if Maru plays passively. And, of course, if he gets aggressive, that's not necessarily guaranteed to work, but I think it's a better shot. Here I am, backseating arguably the best Terran player in the history of the game. The side seat. There's the barracks. He went double NG baby for barracks, which is quite a greedy play. He wants to get those upgrades. Serral? Ah, Serral's going Mutas. Yet again. Welcome back, Mutas, to the meta. I'm excited for it. Banshee? Wow. Serral caught completely off guard by the Banshee. Though it doesn't have cloak. It's just... Ah, that might be why. The naked Banshee. Unexpected, not particularly dangerous, but certainly catching Serral off guard. And... no Muta? He decided against it? He went with double Evo Chamber instead. Oh. Well, I already had enough Mutas today. Alright, I can't be greedy. My favorite unit in the game. The reason I originally mained Zerg in Wings of Liberty, the Basilisk. But nowadays, more of an endangered Hey guys, how you doing? Hey, what's up? Oh. What are you doing over here? Yeah, looking good, looking good. Yeah, keep it up. Jacked up and good to go, right, boys? What? And then... You want a piece of meat, boy? Well, trying to clear some of the creep. Bounces the queens away. Burrow already on the way. As Serral just at the massling Bane. But Maru going to be very ready for it. Roast the Zerglings. Smashes more with the siege tank. The queens gathering. Banshee to the north. And infantry weapons level 1. About to complete. And Maru has a very dangerous timing here. Well before Serral is going to have his upgrades. The queens gone down. And where are the Lings and Banes? Serral on the other side of the map. More Zerglings coming up, but it doesn't even have combat shield. But the Lings and Banes just going for a counterattack. Serral's supply block. Maru making a lot of progress with this double drop, and this is exactly what he needs. He needs to be the aggressor. He needs to be on the edge of the creep, gunning down queens and any Lings and Banes that stray too close. Serral, on the other hand, is setting up for a massive counterattack. Oh my god! Did he miss it? He burrows the entirety of his counterattack. Oh my. Serral doing like YouTuber troll strats here. but it actually works. This is like straight out of an arcade tutorial. Just burrow everything until they go by. Surprise! Here come the banelings into the main. Maru caught completely off guard. Has to pick up his drop as well, but Serral's already in the natural. What? Are you kidding me? Just pop it. Bro. What was that? That was kind of a... At this point, I feel like he's trolling Maru. Do it. Come on. There's a baneling burrowed in there. I don't know what he's waiting for. Another wave. The Lings and Banes rolling in. Maru. It looked okay. He's burrowing in the middle line. This is 100%. He wants him to... Well, it doesn't matter. The banelings are 22 kills. It's a disaster. Oh, no. In this baneling, he could have popped it and gotten like 6 SCVs. I feel like he's just trying to emotionally correct. Why? Why, Serral? Explain to me why you're willing to crush Maru, but you'll take 25 minutes to kill Ryung. Unsportsmanlike. I think Ryung is just better at turtling, whereas Maru is trying to put on the aggression, and he's still near even on supply. There's scattered Lings and Banes throughout. Beautiful split. One more Widow Mine. Gonna try to drag it into the bio. Does a pretty good job. Another mine. Smashes in. Where's the army? Where is the army? Well, the Zergling's still going to work. But and there it is. 5 dropper loads. Serral doesn't have that much supply. Like 141. Maru just keeps getting hit, but 2-2 is about to complete. Maru actually has the upgrade advantage. Well, had the upgrade advantage. Did the baneling at the natural go off? I guess so. A drop? Does he have drilling claws? He does. The filthy Widow Mine positioning. Dropper Lords loaded up to the north. Serral is running a severe risk of overextending here, though. He's not maxed out. He doesn't have Hive. So if he ends up losing a significant amount of units, but he's done. After those 30-minute games against Ryung, he wants this championship. He wants his team to stay warming the bench because Serral himself is too hot right now. The Banes in the third, the Banes in the natural, the Lings burrowed in the main. Not even all of them caught by the scan. The mini-map. Serral is overrunning the field. 6 games going on 7. And the entirety of the best team in Korea is about to be gutted by the finisher. GG! That's it! Your champion is Team Basilisk. Your champion is Serral. 7 games to 0. 3 against Maru, 2 against Ryung, 2 against Solar. And it didn't really look, at no point in any of those games, did it really look particularly close. Serral proving he's head and shoulders above even the best of the rest. A tough match for Team Vitality, but Serral a return to form. Congratulations to Team Basilisk. Thank you again to the World Team League for both putting on these tournaments and allowing me to take a look for you. But thank you for watching. I certainly hope you enjoyed, and I know this wasn't a short experience, but it was as short as it ever could have been. Fortunately or unfortunately. But hopefully, you were able to keep up with my rambling commentary. It was pretty bad today. Serral was winning most of the time. But either way, thank you for watching. I hope I made your day just a little bit better. And congratulations again to Team Basilisk. If you got the means of motivation, it'd be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But either way, I hear liking and subscribing is still free. At least for now. So good luck, have fun, I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Stay chill.
Hell, it's about time.